Okay, let's jump straight in. Imagine this scenario, right? You get asked point blank.
Hmm.
You have to pick one, just one. Time, money, or love.
Wow. Yeah.
Which one are you choosing? It sounds like, I don't know, a silly dinner party question, maybe,
Hmm.
until you actually, like, stop and really think about it.
It really does. It forces you to sort of prioritize instantly. And what's behind that gut feeling? Yeah.
Exactly. And that's really the heart of what we're digging into today. It all comes from this great chat John and Mia had on their show, the one where we choose between time, money, and love.
Right.
We listened to their back and forth, which was really thoughtful, and pulled out, well, the bits we found most interesting for you.
Yeah, and our mission here isn't really to say who won their debate or anything.
No, not at all.
It's more about unpacking the different ways they looked at it, the perspectives, and just seeing what clicks, what resonates with you.
So John kind of starts things off, and he makes a, well, pretty solid case for money.
Mm.
He's talking practical stuff, comfort, making life easier, less stressful. He even floats this idea that money can sort of buy you time back through convenience, paying for help, that kind of thing.
And that's interesting because it taps into this reality that a lot of our day-to-day worries, the practical stuff, they are often tied up with money or lack of it.
Totally. It reflects how things often work.
But then Mia jumps in with a really powerful counter. She pivots straight to time.
And her point just lands, doesn't it? She basically says time is the one thing you absolutely cannot replace.
Exact.
You might make more money later, maybe find love again, but a moment. Once it's gone.
It's gone forever, yeah. And that really throws the difference into sharp relief. Money, well, in theory, it's renewable. You can lose it, make it back.
Right.
But time, it's finite. We only have so much. It makes you really question what holds genuine, lasting value.
And then they bring in love. John introduces it, and it feels like, I don't know, the curveball.
It does, yeah. The real wild card, maybe?
He points out how many massive life choices people make, like moving across the country, changing careers entirely.
Big stuff.
Yeah. And so often, the root motivation is love or connection.
And if you think about that, like from a basic human need perspective, love represents that deep desire we all have for belonging, intimacy,
Right.
the sacrifices people make for it willingly. That says a lot about how crucial we think it is for a meaningful life.
Definitely. But Mia adds this really important layer to the love discussion.
Right.
She basically argues that love isn't just there. It needs time,
Yeah.
like active investment of time to grow, to deepen.
Right. So it's not passive.
No. And if you're always chasing the next thing, maybe money, maybe just a crazy busy schedule, those relationships, those connections, they can just sort of fade away from neglect.
That's such a critical point about, nurturing relationships. It's not just finding it, it's making the space for it. And mostly that space is time and attention.
For sure. Which then leads them to talk about something super relevant today, this idea of presence. Oh, yeah.
Big one.
Mia talked about how easy it is now to be, like, physically in the room with someone.
But your head's somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. Scrolling your phone, thinking about work, emails, whatever. Your attention is just leaking out everywhere.
Yeah, that fractured focus, it really waters down the quality of our interactions, doesn't it? Our ability to actually connect.
It really does.
Makes you wonder if we're trading depth for, I don't know, constant busyness or stimulation.
Definitely feels that way sometimes. So, okay, the conversation naturally shifts then, away from this pick one idea
Right.
and more towards maybe balance, something more fluid.
Yeah, it becomes less about a forever choice and more about asking, okay, right now, in this phase of my life, what do I actually need the most?
Which makes so much sense because our needs do change, don't they? Priorities shift.
Absolutely. What feels vital when you're, say, 25 might not be the top thing when you're 45 or 65. It evolves.
And John actually shares a bit about his own experience with this.
Oh, interesting.
He talks about how, yeah, when he was younger, love felt like everything, the main driver.
Mm-hmm. Typical, maybe.
Possibly. Then, he says, in his 30s, things shifted. The focus became more about financial stability, security.
And that makes sense too, right? Building a career, maybe a family, practical pressures mount up. Stability can feel really essential then.
Totally understandable. But now, for him now,
What is it now?
it's time. He talks about wanting to prioritize experiences, travel, real quality time with family, making memories. It's a clear shift.
That's a really common evolution, I think. As you get older, maybe you become more aware that time is ticking.
Yeah, maybe mortality creeps in a bit.
And you start to understand better what brings that deeper, lasting satisfaction versus, say, just hitting the next career goal.
Which brings us neatly to this idea of intentionality, being deliberate.
Exactly. It boils down to checking in with yourself regularly and asking, honestly, is the way I'm spending my life, my energy, my time,
Yeah.
does it actually line up with what I say matters most to me right now?
That takes some real self-awareness, though.
It does, and honesty. Being honest about your real priorities, not just the ones you think you should have or society tells you to have.
And crucially, it means being willing to actually do something about it. Make changes.
Yes. Adjustments, that's the key.
Like learning to say no sometimes. Saying no to things that drain your time or energy without adding real value.
Or actively blocking out time for people, for relationships, not just hoping it happens.
Even just allowing yourself downtime, rest, without feeling guilty about not being productive. That's part of it too.
Absolutely. That willingness to adjust, to recalibrate, it shows you're committed to living by your own values. You're shaping your life, not just reacting.
So thinking about all this, for you listening, what are the main things to pull from John and Mia's conversation? I think, first off,
The value thing.
yeah, the value you put on time, money, love, it's not fixed. It's
Yeah.
personal. And it can definitely change over time.
And second, there isn't one right answer to that first question they posed. No magic formula. The real gold is in the process, that self-reflection, understanding what you need now.
And maybe the most useful takeaway is that it's likely not about choosing one forever.
Right. It's more about finding a dynamic balance, juggling these things continuously.
A balance that works for you.
And finally, their discussion really underlines how important it is to live intentionally, to be aware and to be ready to adapt things as your priorities shift through life.
So taking a leaf out of John and Mia's book, maybe the question for you today is this. Just take a quiet moment. Really think about it, what genuinely matters most to you in this current chapter of your life.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up. Are you actually making space for that thing? Actively. This whole deep dive, it's not about giving you answers.
Not at all.
It's more about sparking that internal conversation for you.
Because honestly, that ongoing dialogue you have with yourself about time and money and love and how they all fit together for you, that's probably the most valuable conversation you can have.